Jesus is the judge of all people. Prove me wrong. If Jesus isn't God, then why does he say that he is the judge of all people? The Bible is clear. Only God has the authority to judge the living and the dead. So why does Jesus claim this power? Let's see if skeptics can explain this. The city was alive with noise. Crowds gathered, listening to the teachers of the law debate the scriptures. But on this day, something different was happening. Jesus stood in the temple courts, surrounded by people hungry for truth. His words had a power no one could deny. He healed the sick, opened the eyes of the blind, and forgave sins, something only God could do. The religious leaders watched from the sidelines, whispering among themselves. They were furious. This man from Nazareth was challenging everything they stood for. Finally, one of them stepped forward. "By what authority do you do these things? Who gave you this power?" Jesus looked at them, his gaze unwavering. Truly, truly, I say to you, the Son can do nothing of himself, but only what he sees the Father do. For whatever the Father does, the Son also does." The crowd murmured. Who was he claiming to be? Then Jesus spoke the words that shocked them all. "For the Father judges no one, but has committed all judgment to the Son, that all may honor the Son just as they honor the Father." Gasps filled the air. Judgment belonged to God alone. Yet Jesus declared that he was the one who would judge all people. Jesus holds the power of life and judgment. The Pharisees' faces darkened. This was blasphemy. But Jesus wasn't finished. He raised his voice, speaking with an authority that silenced the entire temple. "Truly, truly, I say to you, whoever hears my word and believes in him who sent me has eternal life and will not come into judgment, but has passed from death to life. The hour is coming, and is now here, when the dead will hear the voice of the Son of God, and those who hear will live." The tension was unbearable. The religious leaders clenched their fists. Jesus had just claimed he would be the one to judge all people. He had declared that he had power over life and death itself. For as the Father has life in himself, so he has granted the Son to have life in himself, and he has given him authority to execute judgment because he is the Son of Man. Then came the final blow. "Do not marvel at this, for the hour is coming when all who are in the graves will hear his voice and come out, those who have done good to the resurrection of life, and those who have done evil to the resurrection of condemnation." There was no mistaking his words. On the last day, Jesus himself would call forth the dead. Some would rise to eternal life, others to judgment, and it would be his voice that determined their fate. The challenge to skeptics. Here's the challenge. If Jesus isn't God, explain this. The Old Testament is clear. Only God judges the world. For God is the judge. He puts down one and exalts another. Psalm 75:7. For the Lord is our judge, the Lord is our lawgiver, the Lord is our king. He will save us. Isaiah 33:22. Yet Jesus claims to be the judge of all people. He says he holds the power to raise the dead. He says he determines eternal destiny. No prophet ever claimed this. No angel dared to speak such words, but Jesus did. So I ask you, if Jesus isn't God, prove me wrong. Closing and call to action. Jesus is the judge of all people. On the last day, his voice will call forth the dead, and his judgment will stand forever. So, what will you do with this truth? If you believe Jesus is God, type "Jesus is Lord" in the comments. If you don't, explain this passage. For more powerful Bible truths, like, subscribe, and share this with someone who needs to hear it. Jesus holds the power of judgment. What will you do with that truth?